technology that enables anyone to automatically turn the physical world into 3D models with a low-cost, portable 3D scanner. He's passionate about bringing the physical and digital worlds closer together, allowing us to enjoy the advantages of both. He told me he's been to all of the BILs except for the second one when he was out of the country, which apparently he thinks is an excuse not to be here.
It wasn't an excuse for Julia, right?
Yeah, exactly. Please join me in welcoming Matt Bell.
Thank you. All right, good morning, people. I was kind of afraid that this would just be completely empty except for one person nodding off in the back who had been here all night. So thank you all for showing up at this early hour on a Sunday morning. So 3D printing has been in the news a lot lately. I think even President Obama mentioned it in the last State of the Union address. I'm going to talk about the opposite direction, where you're taking 3D information from the physical world and making an online copy of it. It's recently become possible through the efforts of various companies, including one that I started. All right, this is going to be fun PowerPoint whack-a-mole. Just someone raise your hand if the screen disappears. So yeah, it's recently become possible to quickly capture interior spaces like this one and turn them into 3D models that you can then look at online. All right, so whoa, the brightness is kind of wonky on all this. Anyway, so we've created a camera, prototype of which you can see here, that is able to quickly spin around and make a model of its surroundings. And then you move that camera from spot to spot, and it automatically stitches those 3D models together into one big 3D model of the entire space around it. This is our prototype. The actual version is going to look a lot more like a digital SLR and sit on any tripod. It's going to be coming out later this year. And you control it with an iPad. And what this means is you actually get a live 3D view of what it's reconstructing as you move it around. And so you're not scanning blind like you were when you were taking photos in the 90s. This is live, real-time feedback. So you watch that 3D model come together. So let's look at what the final results look like. So this is the floor plan of a building we scanned. Generally, we scan houses mostly. They take roughly anywhere from half an hour to an hour to make the model of the house. And since I've been screwed by PowerPoint many, many times, I don't try to do anything like a video or a live web demo. Instead, I did the old school flip book. So we're going to dive into this 3D model. First, we'll go to a dollhouse view. And now we're gradually going to make our way inside the model. So this is all full 3D information, just like a video game. And even better, you have absolute dimensions of everything. And so you can then, it's not just a picture you can walk through, it's a tool for manipulating reality and getting the absolute scale of anything. And best part is the whole thing, wow, that brightness is crazy. All right, best part is the whole thing runs inside a web browser. And so you can, anytime, anywhere, pull up a 3D model of a space that you've captured. We're also working on an iPad app so you can really take your space and bring it with you in your pocket. So what is this good for? Well, one thing that people are very excited about with this is the potential to make models of houses for buying, selling, renting, doing vacation rentals, because in this case, like, photos never quite do it justice. Like, if this was a Craigslist ad for a house, it would say like, oh, beautiful garden in back, and if you're lucky, you'll get a picture of it. In this case, you can actually find out what the garden is like. You can wander through that garden, get a sense of its size and shape. You can wander in the house, get a sense for how big the rooms are. So this very much changes the way people shop for houses. It saves a ton of time on both ends. Basically, if you're trying to buy a house, you could look at 200 houses in a day instead of 5. And if you're selling a house, you know that anyone who shows up is actually serious about buying it. So Just like a much more extended version of photography, it makes these transactions much easier. What's going on is essentially people are now communicating 3D spaces directly to each other as opposed to trying to describe the 3D space with a handful of pictures. Other things it's good for. Well, this is our old office. We somehow squeezed 10 people into that. When we moved out, we made a model of the office and put that up online. And we didn't even have to make an accurate floor plan because, hey, the scanning process did that for us. And so we had a bunch of people virtually check out the office space, and because they could see the absolute dimensions and virtually walk through the space, they got a sense of whether it was worth visiting and checking it out. So we managed to rent it in, I think, like 3 or 4 days. It was pretty awesome. And because dog fooding is great, I also rented my old apartment this way. All right, so other interesting things happen. This is the lobby of the Four Seasons in Palo Alto. Another thing that you can do with this is if you are choosing to stay at a particular hotel, instead of just looking at pictures of the rooms, which are probably all nicely staged, you could have a full 3D model of every room in the hotel and a model of the lobby. You can then virtually visit this hotel and decide, like, do I want to stay here before booking your reservation? So just in the same way that, you know, there were restaurants before and after Yelp, and Yelp is like killing off all the bad restaurants, this is a way of making sure that that awesome hotel you want to rent at is actually that awesome. Here's a 3D model of a preschool. So again, this just crops up in all these different aspects of your life. You can get a sense of whether, hey, would I be happy sending my kid to this preschool? Is there a lot of good play equipment? Is it likely to be a stimulating environment? All this information is now something you can experience at home. So this area is off limits. It's a power station at Alcatraz. You can't get there on the tour. You pretty much have to know someone who works there if you want to see it. But we were able to come in and make a 3D model of it, and now anyone can visit it, and they don't have to worry about it getting damaged or worrying about how they make sure they control crowds through it. So this is giving people a chance to visit spaces they wouldn't otherwise have access to. So this is a 3D model of Hacker Dojo. So this space no longer exists. Hacker Dojo had to move. They got in a big fight with the city of Mountain View. Basically, they had too many parties that were kind of awesome like BIL, and Mountain View decided that wasn't so great in an industrial zone. So they're now in a new location. But their old location is now preserved. We now have a 3D copy of it, and so they have those memories that they can revisit and wander through the space again. This is another view of Hacker Dojo. Another interesting thing happened. This Hacker Dojo eviction actually got written up in the New York Times, and we didn't have the model of it at that point, but afterwards we realized this is an incredibly powerful tool for reporters. You know, reporters are looking to bring the story alive and provide details that help people understand what actually happened. And especially you think about like articles in the design section where they're doing model homes, or articles about, you know, lease fights like this one, being able to let people experience that space and have annotations marking like, here's where they needed to put in the stairwell that had to cost a ton of money. All of that makes it a fabulous communication tool for reporting on events that have happened. All right, this saves me from a song and dance number. So this is the Museum of the City of San Diego. So this 3D reconstruction is also exciting for travel. This lets you check out places you might want to visit, as well as, you know, if you're inspired by the architecture or the experience of being in the space, it lets you have a keepsake of the location that you visited. Whoa, all right. So imagine an awesome Andy Goldsworthy sculpture. Andy Goldsworthy does very cool things with natural materials. And at Stanford, he made this long snaking river pattern out of stone. And It's this like very large-scale sculpture. It's the sort of thing that probably won't be there forever. This gives you a tool to record great art and share it with people who can't visit, and also share it with people after the artwork is no longer there. I'm told the Crash Space people downstairs are printing a 3D model of this right now, so you'll have a nice like little 1 to 100 scale copy. All right, there are also plenty of industrial uses. This is the engine room of a ship of one of our investors. And so if you think about, a room like this, each ship ends up being custom because it gets lots and lots of changes and repairs over the years. If you want to go put a piece of equipment in there, you probably don't have an accurate 3D model of the ship. This lets you quickly get that, and then you can plan, is there enough space for this new generator? How am I going to get it down there? Is there like a path that I can move it freely in, or do I have to cut a hole somewhere? If so, where do I cut that hole? Oh, hey, I have to reroute a bunch of pipes. Well, what pipe connects to what other pipe? All of that stuff that you used to have to trace manually and try to simulate with giant boxes and things like that, it's now far easier to do it. You just grab a 3D model of the space in a few minutes and then go plan that in software. So everything I've shown you is an actual unretouched scan that we've done. So all that's in the past. I want to talk to you a little bit about the future of where we're going with this. So we want to make every decision involving your house as simple and as easy as possible. And we were thinking like, where as a business can we provide the most help? And we thought about like all the most important decisions of your life, except maybe where to go to college or where to send your kid to college, involve your house. That's like buying it, selling it, renting it, insuring it, furnishing it, choosing to repaint it, remodeling it. We can help with all of those things. And so we're building this awesome online tool set that lets you do, among other things, swapping out and online shopping of furniture. So we want to make sure that you never have that experience where you're standing in the furniture store thinking like, well, I know this couch looks great under all this gallery lighting, but would it actually fit well in my living room? And lots of people get stuck at that decision, especially for like a remodel where it could cost like $40,000. So if you're then able to experience like, this is what my house would be like if I had this new piece of furniture or this remodel taking place, we think that that will make sure that these big purchase decisions that you make come out well as often as possible. So with that, we are excited about putting your world in your pocket so you can take it with you, play with it whenever you want, and help make those big decisions in your life. Thank you. All right. Well, it looks like I have 2 minutes and 39 seconds for questions. Front row.